In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro delves into the complexities and implications of the recent tariff policies implemented by the Trump administration, which he refers to as the mother of all tariffs. The discussion centers around the economic ramifications of these tariffs, the mixed signals from the administration, and the potential fallout for both the U.S. economy and international relations. Shapiro begins by outlining the immediate impact of the tariffs, which took effect at midnight, leading to a significant downturn in the stock market. The Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 both experienced notable declines, reflecting investor anxiety over the tariffs' implications. He explains that while tariffs are designed to protect domestic industries, they often lead to increased prices for consumers and can disrupt supply chains. The process of implementing tariffs involves a delay as companies have a window to pay the tariffs after goods arrive at ports, but the anticipation of these costs can lead to immediate price adjustments. Shapiro highlights the two primary rationales behind the tariffs, one advocating for reciprocal trade policies aimed at achieving zero tariffs globally, and the other promoting a protectionist approach to bolster American manufacturing. He notes that President Trump has oscillated between these two positions, creating confusion in the markets about the administration's true intentions. Shapiro argues that if the goal was truly to negotiate better trade deals, a more strategic approach could have been taken rather than declaring a trade war on multiple fronts simultaneously. As the tariffs began to take effect, Shapiro discusses the volatility in the markets, emphasizing that the initial optimism surrounding potential negotiations quickly dissipated. He cites investment experts who predict that the markets have not yet reached their bottom, indicating that the economic consequences of the tariffs will unfold over time. The podcast also touches on the historical context of trade negotiations, noting that significant agreements often take months or even years to finalize, which raises concerns about the current administration's approach. Shapiro stresses the importance of maintaining strong alliances while engaging in trade wars. He warns that alienating key trading partners could push them closer to China, which would undermine U.S. interests. The podcast discusses how countries like Japan and members of the European Union are navigating their trade relationships with both the U.S. and China, and how the tariffs could shift these dynamics. Shapiro argues that a more measured approach, focusing on building alliances and negotiating from a position of strength, would yield better results than a unilateral tariff strategy. The domestic fallout from the tariffs is another focal point of Shapiro's discussion. He notes that some House Republicans are already considering legislation to limit the president's ability to impose tariffs unilaterally, reflecting concerns about the political consequences of a trade war. With midterm elections approaching, Republicans in swing districts are particularly wary of the potential backlash from constituents who may be adversely affected by rising prices and economic instability. Shapiro also highlights the mixed signals coming from the administration, with some officials advocating for an off-ramp to negotiate better deals, while others, like Peter Navarro, push for a more aggressive stance. This internal conflict within the administration contributes to market uncertainty and raises questions about the long-term strategy for U.S. trade policy. As the podcast progresses, Shapiro examines the broader economic context of the tariffs, including their impact on various industries, particularly the auto sector. He discusses how companies are already responding to the tariffs by halting exports and laying off workers, which could have cascading effects on the economy. The potential for rising prices and reduced consumer spending is a significant concern, as it could lead to a slowdown in economic growth. Shapiro also addresses the implications for energy production, noting that falling oil prices could hinder domestic drilling efforts. He emphasizes the need for a robust energy policy that supports American production while navigating the complexities of global trade.